Okay, so our next storyteller is so delightful. I met her in 2010 when she started working with Santa Monica Rep. She was born in London in 1929, and she was married for about 60 years before losing her husband to cancer in 2010. And that's when she started working with Santa Monica Rep and getting involved with Shine. And she's the one who does all the concessions who you saw out there. And she's just such a delightful, full of life woman. And she's so what I want to be when I grow older as time passes. She's such an inspiration. So let's welcome to the stage, Sheila Raznick.
Come on out, girl. The year is 1970. Dennis and I had been married for 20 years and had 2 teenage children when we discovered that his brother, who'd been his business partner for years, had been cheating us. And all we had in the bank was £100, which was about $400 in those days. The following months were bad for us, but I was determined at that time that I would never be dependent on anyone else for money. I'd been a stay-at-home mum with my children until they started school and was presently working part-time for the British Market Research Company as an interviewer in the Attitude and Motivation department. We were attending a cousin's wedding when her friend said to me out of the blue, "Have you ever thought about being a social worker, Sheila? I've been one for several years, and I think you would make a good one." The very next day, as if by magic, there was an advertisement in the local paper asking for mature students to attend college and be sponsored by the local government, as in their wisdom they felt that mature people with life experience would be better than youngsters who had just graduated from college. There was a postal strike at the time, so I went to the offices to collect the necessary information for the papers to set me on my course. I can remember the receptionist saying to me, "Are you crazy? Do you really want to become a social worker?" I went home, completed the form, obtained 2 references, and wrote in 100 words why I wanted to become a social worker. My husband and I had already decided that we would tell no one about the application because at that time it was not the usual thing to do, but it would just be shared with the children and the 2 people who had written my references. Eventually, I received a letter telling me they had received 130 applications, had shortlisted it to 8, and would I come to a group interview which would take place for a whole morning, but would I please keep the afternoon free? The interview took place, and I was asked with 3 other candidates to stay for the afternoon. I was then told that I was the one that had been chosen to go to college if I passed a few more tests, i.e. medical, an interview by the Home Office, sitting exams at the college, and then finally an interview at the college. It really felt like entering a beauty contest with so many hoops and hurdles, but my family was very supportive and encouraged me all the way. At the very last interview, I guess I was feeling very confident when the tutor asked me if I entered the room, "What's so special about you that you want to be a social worker?" I just replied very quickly, "Oh, haven't you heard? I'm Sheila Raznick." He laughed so much. And we then sat down and I had a really good interview and I was accepted. When we told our parents that I was going to college at 40, incidentally, both sets of parents had been married for 50 years. My mother said, "What do you want it for?" My mother-in-law, "Can't Dennis keep you?" So, ignoring the opposition, I began my course, which was a pretty extensive one, because Seaburn had decided, although I had signed up to become a childcare officer, Seaburn, in his wisdom, wrote a paper declaring that social work in England should no longer be under one umbrella. There were all the separate departments. So we were the first 100 students to obtain our CQSW Certificate of Qualification in Social Work and be declared generic social workers. We had bosses who only knew about their own discipline, i.e. mental health, childcare, the elderly, physically handicapped, court work, etc. So it was a very difficult time to be starting my social work because we knew more than the bosses. I spent 17 years as a social worker, but that's another story.
We want to hear about your crossroads and what decisions you've had to make in your life. So what you can do is click the link below to our Facebook page and share your stories with us, or just write it in the comments section. Also, if you're interested in telling a story in our September show, you can go ahead and email the email right down below. The theme for that month is music.